I had read the original Stephen King book written as Richard Bachman when I was a teenager, and around the time I started reading Stephen King books. And so I has really stayed with me, the original novel, its intensity and its themes, and I had read the book before I had seen the 1987 adaptation, which I enjoyed, but I even then realized that, this is a very loose adaptation of the book and they barely cover a lot of the story. So I knew as a Stephen King fan that there was like a novel of his that hadn't really been adapted for the screen. And over the years, I'd always it stuck with me that it was a great kind of sci-fi action adventure. And a big part of it that really stuck with me is the fact that in the book you stay in Ben's point of view the entire time and you go on the journey with him and you don't cut away to other scenes. He doesn't know what's going on in the rest of the world, only what he sees on the TV. And I just thought that was a really strong point of view for the movie. So also the crazy thing is that the Stephen King book, which he wrote in 1972, he set it in the year 2025. So the fact that this film is coming out in the last few weeks of 2025 is kind of wild. I think the key thing about the book that I loved was the character of Ben Richards being an everyman, that he wasn't an established action hero. He's not like a trained killer. He's a guy off the street. He's an out-of-work dad who's trying to provide for his family, and he goes to the network building out of desperation to make money. So that was a really important part of it, is that this is a guy off the street who's he's tough because he's worked some dangerous jobs, but he's also fallible. He makes mistakes. He doesn't always have a plan of action. So that was really important. And also the idea of seeing the entire film through his eyes and showing it from his point of view was really important. Well, I think what's great about Glen is he's a proper movie star, but he also is very relatable. And I think he also plays a great everyman. So the idea of having this character at the center of this kind of deadly action just makes it more exciting because you don't know whether he's going to survive. It was an amazing cast, and it was because of the nature of the story, people kind of come into the movie and come out again. And so I think it was fun for me and Glen because every week there'd be a different great actor coming in to shoot on the movie and, create some really interesting dynamics, in the scenes with Glen and Josh Brolin, in the scenes with Glen and Michael Cera, in the scenes with Coleman Domingo, with Lee Pace. It was just a kind of murderer's row of a cast, The action sequence was very ambitious because we were trying to shoot as much on location and in camera as possible and trying to shoot it all from his point of view. So it required a lot of planning because we wanted Glen to be the center of a lot of the action. But then some sequences that, are incredibly complicated in the way they play out, the sequence in the YVA is sort of a number of different sets and some location work and just when it's all cut together, it's pretty seamless, but it's weeks and weeks of work, At heart, it's an entertaining sci-fi action thrill ride, but if it gives you something to chew on the way home, then great.